This is Superior Sports Talk with Reggie Wilson and Luke Inman, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota, and it starts now.
Reggie and Luke back at it. Another episode, Superior Sports Talk, presented by Locked On Sports Minnesota. Haven't seen you in a couple days. What's going on, Reggie?
Yo, what's up, Luke? Had a great weekend. Spent it with
Love
the wifey, the dog, saw my mama. Great time. But great to be back talking sports with you, brother.
Yeah, we're talking who the Twins MVP may be if the season were to end today. Talking some NBA playoffs and how much trouble Luka and the Mavs are in now. Plus, later I'm putting Reggie on the hot seat with what does it mean. It's all coming up on Superior Sports Talk. But first, if you enjoy Superior Sports Talk, you'll also enjoy our other daily show with former NFL receiver Ron Johnson. Ron offers the unique view of an athlete turned broadcaster and brings you high-profile guests like Braylon Edwards, Adam Thielen, and Robert Smith. Subscribe to the Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel or your favorite podcast feeds so you never miss an episode. All right, well, let's talk about those Twins, shall we? Twins already had the series clinched yesterday afternoon after winning the first two, and most people, like myself, shut this one off early after they were down 6 runs in the 8th inning, but they rally all the way back and win 7-6 and do, in fact, sweep the Royals. A lot to catch up on after the weekend of action, Reggie. Smeltzer goes 5 innings, only allows 1 run in Game 1 victory, 6-4. Joe Ryan goes 5+ in Game 2, only allows 1 run. Twins win 9-2. And yesterday, Bailey Ober gets through 5 innings and does the same, only allows 1 run. Then the trouble started. They bring in Cano. He allowed 5 quick runs, only managed 1 out. But the Twins rally, as mentioned, all the way back. A monster 8th and 9th inning. Polanco, Garlick, Kepler, Sanchez, they all played big parts in that. Luis Arraez had 3 big hits. Total team effort as you saw the depth of this batting order come through in a big way. Reggie, your takeaways from yesterday's magical comeback and the weekend sweep as a whole.
So we talked about, coming into these series, like they needed to get these wins stacked up. Mm-hmm. And, maybe not expecting a sweep for every series, but like, goodness gracious, like we'll take it, right? You know what I mean? Like the Royals, I thought they'd be better than they are, but they're turning out to be not that great this year. I was looking at, I used to live in Kansas, and the Royals are their squad, even though, Kansas City is a little bit further away. Mm-hmm. And so many people, they're just like, fire everybody. I'm on Twitter. Everybody's just like, get them out of here.
Hit the reset
They're trash.
Get out of here.
Just stop it.
Yeah, and, they're no Cincinnati Reds, but they're not on a great trajectory right now.
No, but you look at their lineup and you're wondering like why they're struggling. You got Witt, you got Salvi. Those guys are great. It's just not working out. Mike Matheny went down I-70 to Kansas City, and it's just not working out. And it's like, I don't know if we attribute this win to the Royals being bad or the Twins just being that good and their resiliency to battle their way back. Maybe it's a little bit of both. I think if you're a Twins fan, I know it's the Royals, but you have to be encouraged. Anytime your team sweeps and then they go through a little bit of adversity in a Sunday game that really, they could have dropped, and it still would have meant that they would have won the series, but they lock in, come back, win 7-6, like that says a lot about the grit of this baseball team. That says a lot about, what this team is building this season and where they could go. And that's exciting if you're a Twins fan.
We always talk about the studs, the core of this roster, Buxton, Correa, some other pieces. Mm-hmm. But again, the depth of that order really shined over the weekend, specifically in that 7-6 magical comeback yesterday as well. I was going to ask you who we should name MVP of the series, but I'm going to switch it up. Who do you think would win the team MVP right now through the first 6-7 weeks, just kind of collectively looking back? Obviously, the first two I think of, and a lot of people would mention Joe Ryan and Byron Buxton. Even with the limited playing time, he's just so impactful to the rest of the team and lineup. I mean, we saw it last week. Buxton goes 0 for 4, but the Twins still put up 14 runs versus the A's that day. If the season were to end today, who's the most valuable player on this team?
Man, I think if you're just going like chalk, I mean Buxton, obviously.
Yep. Yep.
Buxton. Like
Yep.
the dude is incredible when he's out there. But what's funny is he just seems to impact the game. We were watching on Friday, he was like 0 for 4. And they were just like mud stomping the Royals. And you're just like, well. But one of my guys, he was just like, look, just the fact that he's on the team, just the fact that he's in the lineup, that he's out there playing with his guys, he just seems to have that energizing factor. But you know what? If we're going outside of the box for who could be the team MVP so far, and I know he's missed some time as well, Luis Ariz.
Yes. Yes.
I'm looking at his stats right now. He has a homer. Batting average 336.
He's a machine right now.
11 RBI. And the dude has 36 hits this season. Like he's just a base hit, extra base hit machine. And I think whenever they need production from this guy, he's there to do his job. And I think it was on Sunday he batted in the go-ahead run. And it's I don't know, like if you give me someone and you say, hey, you can't pick Joe Ryan.
Yeah.
You can't pick Byron Buxton. And you're just like, dang, that's not fair. And then you start looking at the stats, you're like, oh, I got a guy. Luis, it's Luis. And I think he's the guy for me that kind of is like the engine that helps make the team go.
Yeah, first of all, Byron Buxton's certainly probably the team MVP, but he's never going to be that nationally recognized in the MVP discussion with your Aaron Judges and the other superstars because we know he misses so much time, right? I mean, those guys are going to play so many more games, but on a game-by-game basis, though, when he's in the lineup, Buxton should be in that conversation as one of the league's best. But with all the time he's missed, with all the time Carlos Correa's missed, Joe Ryan, you only see him once every 5 days or so. Luis Ariz has been really quietly the rock in the cornerstone in this lineup, night in and night out, consistently, while we've missed a lot of those other big pieces. So I like that you mentioned that. Easy to go chalk in this conversation for sure, but another name that Twins fans maybe should think about and consider when kind of just evaluating the top players on this team through the first 6-7 weeks. Twins, they're now 25-16. First place in the Central Division. Ton of buzz around them early this season, man. I mean, things are fun right now, Reggie. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
This has been fun so far, for sure. This changes weekly or even daily at times with injuries and just the ebbs and flows of a long season. But as we get into the thick of the summer, what worries you? What could be the one thing in your mind that drops this team back down to earth a little bit? Because pitching was always the one big concern, and now they've faced some tough injuries in the middle of the rotation. Chris Paddock lost for the season. Could prove to be costly, we know that. But for me, even the starters that are doing well are being pulled after 5 innings consistently by Rocco. That worries me as he continues to put so much pressure on the bullpen. Is that a pitch count concern for him? Is he being overly protective of his players? I mean, what's the reasoning for being so aggressive when pulling these starters while in the midst of a great outing early in the game?
I think it's longevity because I think he, like a lot of us, to answer your question, are concerned about the longevity of this pitching staff. I think what we've seen is, Gary Sanchez is heating up. Luis Ariz is on fire, as we talked about. When Byron Buxton is in the lineup, he's effective. Carlos Correa is heating up. Like, you got all these guys. Miranda broke out of his slump, and he's heating up. Like, I think what is tough is the pitching staff. The bats have shown that they'll be there. Even when they struggle a little bit, they'll rebound and they'll be there. But what you can't really say for sure is how good this pitching staff is going to hold up over the course of the season. And, you're playing mix and match, now with losing Paddock, who, by the way, it's tough as it is, but then when that story came out about how, he could have been a Met, but the Mets doctors nixed the deal and all that. Like, and then you see what Taylor Rogers is doing. You're just like, dang, man. Like, imagine having a bullpen where your setup guy is Duran and your closer is Rogers, or the other way around. Like, that is some domination at the back end of your bullpen. And I think, we've seen the bullpen give up some just inexplicable performances. And, you would hope that the top end of that rotation does what they need to do with guys like Ryan, Sonny Gray, and Bundy. But, like, you kind of worry, Archer, he's been a little bit concerning as of late, especially. And that bullpen, Duffy he's kind of leveled out a little bit, but early on in the season it was touch and go. It was like, man, I don't know if you could keep putting this dude out there. And I think what you're seeing from Rocco is, okay, look, we are going to put someone in there and then pull them really quick so we can just prolong them over the course of the season, because he knows that some of his starters are some of the best options on his pitching staff. And maybe later in the year, he can put those guys in for 6, 7, 8 innings because he did manage them well early on. And I think that's kind of what he's banking on.
Running out of time today's segment, but rest assured tomorrow or through the week, we got to touch on Johan Duran because he has been lights out throwing smoke. Saw a stat yesterday on Twitter from the Locked On Minnesota Twins account. Johan Duran leads the majors in relievers with just a shade over 40%, nearly 41% strikeout rate, which is just absolutely bananas. So a lot to be excited about for sure with him. It's nice to know you got one cornerstone, one pillar hanging around in the bullpen for the Twins. Twins start a 7-game homestand starting with the Tigers tonight. Chris Archer, like you said, he's on the mound tonight. First pitch, 6:40 p.m. right here in the backyard at Target Field. Coming up, we're talking Andrew Wiggins versus Luka last night, and later I'm putting Reggie on the hot seat. But first, do you want instant post-game reaction from insiders that cover your favorite teams? Check out our Locked On Sports Minnesota podcasts on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Following every Twins, Vikings, Wild, or Wolves game, our Locked On team hosts are broadcasting live with team insiders like Kevin Gorg for the Wild and Brandon Warren for the Twins. Never miss a podcast by subscribing to Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel. All right, well, Reggie, the Golden State Warriors took another one from the Mavs in Dallas. This time, many fans down 2-0 yesterday before the game were like, listen, we were down 2-0 last series too, and we won that one. We'll be just fine. Not worried. But now, not going to be as easy this time around. The Mavs dug themselves in a serious hole after last night. Andrew Wiggins with a huge game for the Warriors. Luka, a one-man show, just not enough magic, though, last night. Your thoughts on Game 3 and just kind of where we stand right now in the series?
Hey, man, I think it's over. I was talking to one of my guys last night. He's a Suns fan, and I'm like, man, how did this Mavs team beat the Suns like that? Like, this team looked like they were cooking with fish grease, like hotter than grandma's oven. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they come into the series against the Warriors, and it's like they run into a buzzsaw. And I don't think it's for lack of effort. Like, I think they're playing hard. I think they're playing, well considering. But this Golden State team is just on an absolute whole other level right now.
I don't think it's so much the Mavs. I think just Golden State just heating up right at the end, right at the right time right now.
Yeah, and you're getting this type of effort from Andrew Wiggins. How you think the Wolves fans are sitting at home like, dang.
Stings.
But you know what? Sometimes you need a change of scenery to realize or maximize your potential. And I think, some may say, well, the Warriors gave up on them too early. And, you got D'Lo in return, and, people feel how they feel about that. But I think the Warriors are a team who's been there before. They got guys who have championship pedigree on that team who know what it's like to dig in and do what they have to do to win a ring. And I think they have challenged Andrew Wiggins to play, up a notch, like take his game to another level. and really kind of reach the potential that, he was already a 20-point scorer. That was a given. We knew that he was going to give that type of an effort every night. But what is really cool about how they're utilizing him is he's going at the team's best player on the defensive end. He's rebounding. He's attacking the rim. A lot of people talked about how, him and Cat just didn't work together because, neither one of them really had that type of dog type mentality that you needed to just will a team to victory. Well, he's got dogs. He's got Steph. He's got Draymond. He's got Clay. It's a pool party. He's got all these guys that just have ice in their veins, and he just has to settle down and just play his game. And that is very helpful for them when they're like, look, we're going to take some of the pressure off with some of the things that we do. We just need you to go out there and be wiggy. And he's out there getting wiggy with it right now. And they're just really reaping the benefits of that. And this Warriors team looks like a team that nobody can stop this season.
Wiggins at the time was asked to do so much in such a different role. I mean, this was before Ant and obviously playing next to a younger Cat. He was asked to carry this team. And now over in Golden State, again, he can just kind of maximize his best talents and not have all that pressure on him.
As a role player.
As a role player, exactly.
Dynamic role player at this point.
Yep.
All-star role player.
Yeah, going off right now. Benefits of, again, playing with Curry and Draymond. Even Draymond seems like he's just in the perfect place, the perfect fit in Golden State. I'll ask you that.
Yep.
Is Draymond the same Draymond if he's playing for the Magic or another team in the NBA? I'm not sure. I mean,
no.
I don't think so. I think he's just in the perfect situation to maximize his certain skill sets. Like, he comes out of Michigan State. He's not the biggest man in the world, but again, for his role on that team next to guys like a healthy Clay and Curry and now Wiggins, pool party, it's just the perfect storm right now. And I think just all five guys plus their depth, they just heated up at the right time. And because they have the championship pedigree with coaching, we talked about how important that is. Steve Kerr, one of the best. I think it's just the perfect storm right now, and they're getting hot right at the right time.
If he's coming off the bench for the Timberwolves, if he's playing for the Timberwolves, Draymond Green, he's coming off the bench.
That's wild. Yeah.
But for that role for him in Golden State, they're not relying on him to be a scorer. They're relying on him to be an energy guy, to be a defender, to be a rebounder, to be a facilitator even. He's like a point forward out there, how he facilitates the ball and spreads the ball around, gets the ball to guys in their spots. And on a team like that, that helps with spacing because you're like, okay, look, he'll shoot it every once in the blue moon with that backpack jumper he has. But that's not what they need him for. But on any other team, if he's going to start and he's going to play the considerable minutes that he plays, he needs to be like a scorer. And that's not who he is. I mean, look at Josh Okogie with the Timberwolves. They put him in for his defensive prowess and his athleticism and all that. And by 20, 25 games into the season, he was coming off the bench. And then, 20, 25 more games after that, he's not even really seeing the floor with any meaningful minutes. So, Draymond being on a team like the Wolves or any other team in the league, they're asking him to do more that's not in his wheelhouse, and he's probably coming off the bench. As crazy as that sounds.
It's wild, man. Not looking great if you're a Mavs fan. Poor Luka just doesn't have the same talent around him as some of these other teams remaining in the playoffs. Speaking of remaining playoff teams, the Miami Heat looked angry Saturday night, jumping out to a 25-point halftime lead. Take Game 3, 109-103 to go up 2 games over the Celtics. Did you catch any of this one, Reggie? And if so, your thoughts on how Miami bounced back after that embarrassing blowout in Game 2 at home?
It was to be expected.
Yeah.
I mean, Spo is a future Hall of Fame coach, and he's going to get his guys prepared. They're not going to look like that more than once. And I think you got to give him his respect, man. He makes adjustments like the best of them. Pat Riley has mentored him greatly, because he's just kind of taking this thing and run with it. The dude is an astute student of the game, and he's one of the best coaches in all of the NBA and all of basketball, really, and got his guys ready to play for a game that, would have been kind of demoralizing if they would have lost again, because you come off that blowout loss, and then if you come out and lose again, now all of a sudden you're talking about maybe a little bit of confidence issues. But I don't know what Spo said to motivate him, what type of adjustments that he made to get them in better positions to score and balloon that lead like that. But like, if anybody is going to get their team to the finals based off of the job that they're doing, it's Spo. And with that being said, though, I still expect this series to go 7.
Well, Vegas agrees with you because Vegas has Celtics as 6-point favorites. Seems a little bit more of a margin than I would have expected, but 6-point favorites tonight. Game 4 tip-off 7:30 on ABC. Rest assured, Reggie and I will be back here tomorrow to break all that down. All right, the time has come. My favorite segment is here. I'm putting Reggie on the hot seat with What Does It Mean? Reggie, you ready to roll?
Let's do it, brother.
So ESPN released a recap and question marks of the top 10 MLB free agents thus far, asking, was the big name free agent worth the deal from what we've seen through these first 6-7 weeks? Number 8 on the list was Carlos Correa, noting his up and down play with injuries playing a huge factor early in the season thus far. Remember, he was starting to heat up, started cold, started to really heat up, hurt the finger, misses 10 days, starting to get back into a rhythm again here. So what does it mean when trying to predict Correa's long-term plans with the Twins, factoring on his overall play in 2022? Like, if he has an off year, let's just say, is he more likely to stay or go on the last 2 remaining years of his deal? Has he been worth the money the Twins have paid him thus far, in your opinion?
I think it's too early to tell.
Yeah, it's pretty early. Small sample size.
Yeah, but I do think that he has the acumen. I think he has the cachet, if you will, to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's a very, very long season. He has to acclimate to his new team. He has to kind of get into a rhythm. Spring training wasn't really a good place to do that because of the abbreviated nature of it and just how kind of, wonky it was. And so I think that he's going to rebound from his early season struggles and have a good season. And he's probably going to have suitors lined up to sign him to that big money extension that he's looking for. And, while some would say, don't rule it out that he'll come back to the Twins, I think it's interesting. It depends on how this season plays out for the Twins and how he ultimately impacts the game. Because if he decides that, this is a place where he feels like he can win long term, like the Twins somehow break the curse and they get out of that first round of the playoffs and, kind of make a push and challenge. Maybe he's like, you know what? Or if they come close and they may be just like a couple players away and he thinks that they have something special to really do some special things in the coming years, then maybe he does just continue to sign on. I mean, you look at him, he's still only 27 years old. He'll be 28 in September. And like in baseball years, for a guy in his prime, like you got him at a really great time. And you would like to say that some of his best baseball is still in front of him. And so I think it would be a luxury for the Twins to be able to keep him. It's tough when you got guys surging like Royce Lewis, but I think if the two parties enjoy themselves this season and enjoy themselves in terms of winning meaningful baseball games, I could see them having a little bit longer of a marriage, and I could see him opting in. Or if he just explodes the rest of the season, I could see him opting out and maybe seeing if the Twins want to give him a little bit more money. A lot hinges on how this whole thing plays out this year, but that's probably what Correa is thinking about.
Yeah, interesting angle there you pointed out. Not a lot of fans probably thinking about when it comes to this long-term plans with Correa is if he does have a monster year, maybe he does want to opt out and see if the Twins, first and foremost, I'll give you first crack at it, want to pony up some extra dough and, come to the table with a competitive offer compared to what he could get paid with some other teams. I think the article poses more, depending on what kind of year Correa specifically has is going to influence and impact his long-term decision. But I think it's more about the Twins' success. If he sees that he's on a winning organization and he's having fun playing the game that he loves and is good at, and he doesn't need to be the main guy. When Buxton, you even got like a Royce Lewis maybe somehow implemented into the mix of long-term plans. You get Chris Paddock back. You get Kenta Maeda back. I don't know. I mean, it must be nice to not only win games, but, get paid obviously along the way too. So next one up, what does it mean? Justin Thomas never led the PGA Championship until one hole remained in the 3-hole playoffs with Will Zalatoris. He started the day 7 shots back and 7th on the leaderboard and finished the day with his 2nd career major victory and 8th PGA Tour win in as many years. What does it mean when choosing which player had the most roller coaster weekend? Thomas and his roaring comeback, Omido Pereira, who was in the driver's seat all weekend until his heartbreaking collapse on 18, hits it into the water, double bogeys 18, misses out on his first major win. Yeah, it was wild. Yeah,
I think it had to be Pereira. I think what's cool is you saw it from both sides. Winning a golf major is very hard. And you have to have so many things go your way. That's why it's so incredible with things like Tiger Woods has done in his career, because you're just like, dude, like, that's just not normal.
That's not normal. Yeah.
No. Yeah. And so, like, dude had what I would do on a golf course. Like, the collapse, like that, unlike you've ever seen before. Like, that was what I would do on the golf course. And I feel for the dude, because, like, there are only so many people who have won majors, and, like, to put yourself in that conversation on the PGA Championship, dude, I was looking, because I was on the elliptical this morning, and I was watching a little bit of Sports Center, which I don't get a chance to watch a whole lot of, and they were just kind of recapping the weekend. Justin Thomas, like you said, only his 2nd major. He's 29 years old. He won this PGA Championship 5 under.
That's wild.
5 under. Like, a lot of times you see a lot of these, like, leaders in these championships, like, they're at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 under even. Those are what, like, this dude was able to not only battle back and then win, going 5 under in the whole tournament, like 5 under the whole time.
I know the conditions were not great all weekend, hence the low scoring. Weather played a huge factor, but that's why we went into the final round yesterday morning knowing no lead was safe. And even though he was 7 back on the leaderboard, he just put his head down and went to work, ended up rallying all the way back. And again, a little bit of luck, bad luck, obviously, for Eric. That just ended up being a heartbreaker. It sounds like he's going to be one of the better up-and-coming PGA Tour players, though, over the next few months, the next few years. So hopefully we see him bounce back in a big way, because that's a tough one to swallow for sure.
Yeah.
All right, last one. ESPN's latest article reevaluated Deshaun Watson's monster $230 million contract that was fully guaranteed and posed the question, if deals like his and Kirk Cousins, who not long ago broke the norm, he shocked the league when he signed that 3-year, $84 million deal, which was the first fully guaranteed deal of that magnitude the league had seen. Since then, superstars like Aaron Rodgers, Stafford, Josh Allen, Mahomes, they've all signed new long-term deals. However, none of them fully guaranteed. What does it mean when trying to predict if fully guaranteed deals in the NFL will become part of the new norm moving forward, just like baseball and basketball?
It's not going to happen.
Don't think so.
There's just too much inherent risk. There's just too much. Like, some people are calling the Browns crazy for doing what they did. Like,
Well, they kind of are. I mean, that's
Deshaun didn't even have any leverage. Like,
yeah.
he went to the highest bidder. He was just like, "Oh, okay. Like, you guys are you're gonna give me what? Like, y'all know what I'm going through. Y'all know what I'm faced with,
Right.
and y'all are gonna give me how much? And wait a minute. Put that on something. 230 guaranteed. Like, fully guaranteed.
You heard it.
Like,
You
that's
heard
all
it
my money.
it. Legally, he said that.
That's
legally.
all my money.
Yeah.
For real? I'm going to Cleveland. Like, I'm going. That's where I'm going. We out. We gone, baby. We going to Cleveland. Okay, Mama, I'm going to Cleveland. I know it's cold up there, but look, my money gonna keep me warm, baby. You know, like I just, especially if this deal blows up in their faces, and you know some things come out against Deshaun that prohibits him from being on the field like they want him to be. They've given up on their young quarterback in Baker Mayfield and hitched their wagon to another one in Deshaun Watson, who comes with quite a bit of baggage, who is very talented. And, you know, if he isn't going through what he's going through and doesn't have some of these allegations against him, that deal looks really smart on paper, because you're just like, oh yeah, they're just, you know, paying a young quarterback who's a rising superstar in this league like what he's due. Because like he was in that conversation as top 10, maybe even top 5 quarterbacks in the league before, you know, he inexplicably had these issues and these, you know, complaints that were filed against him, and he missed a year. And, you know, even before that, he wanted to be traded. And so I don't know, like when you look at how barbaric of a sport the NFL is, I think it's tough, especially on non-position or non-quarterback positions, guaranteeing their full contracts. It really handicaps you because, you know, there is a salary cap, there's a hard cap, and then if you're giving a guy these fully guaranteed dollars, there's a problem if that person gets hurt and now you have to fill out your roster with someone else that you also have to pay. And there is enough money to go around, but the NFL has kind of made it to where there isn't enough money to go around to give all these guys guaranteed deals. And that's tough.
After the Kirk Cousins, again, kind of broke the norm, shocked the world, which again, back at the time, 3-year, $84 million for Kirk Cousins, everybody lost their mind. And now here we are 3-4 years later, and that looks like peanuts right now. But if it was going to happen and the trend was going to start tweaking towards that kind of, style of contract, it would have happened with Rodgers or Josh Allen or Mahomes or Stafford, and it didn't. There's another young kind of wave here with Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Russell Wilson's going to have to get re-signed here in the next year and a half. So it could still happen, but I'm with you. Such a barbaric physical sport to guarantee all that money. As soon as you sign a piece of paper, it's all guaranteed no matter what happens. That's such a risk. We'll see what happens in Cleveland when we look back in 10 years, but high risk, high reward. We know that, but quite the gamble in such a, again, physical demanding sport. We'll see how it all shakes out. All right, Reggie, you survived the gauntlet once again.
Yes.
We're going to be back here tomorrow breaking down more Twins, Vikings, NBA and NHL playoffs, and plenty more. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and join us every day for another episode covering all the biggest topics in Minnesota sports. He's Reggie Wilson. Follow him on Twitter at Reggie Wilson TV and on Care11. I'm Luke Inman on Twitter at Luke_Spinman. Tune in tomorrow to Superior Sports Talk, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota. For Reggie, I'm Luke. Until tomorrow, signing out.
Be blessed. Spread love this week.
This is Superior Sports Talk with Reggie Wilson and Luke Inman, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota.